This is a brief introduction to the Shearwater Petrol Technical Dive Computer. It's the next generation of the Predator dive computer, but it's been made smaller and lighter. One thing you'll notice that unlike the Predator, it's not using an OLED, it's an LCD display, but it's just as bright and clear as the Predator. It also retains the low power consumption of the Predator, and as well as a bunch of other new features that we've added to the Petrol. One of those is that all models are now open circuit and closed circuit. So you can switch here to open circuit. Now because closed circuit was enabled, OC is shown as a yellow warning condition to indicate bailout. If you were doing an open circuit only dive, the best thing to do would be to switch in the system setup the mode to open circuit. That is going to optimize the computer for open circuit diving and make it less complex and just easier to use. You'll see some of the settings disappeared, and it's going to be set up to better for open circuit diving. Another new thing you might notice is that there is a battery fuel gauge. Now that is available because some of the battery types that can be used on the Petrol have a good voltage to discharge curve, and you can do an accurate fuel gauge. Now what I have in right now is an alkaline battery. These are cheap, you can buy them anywhere, and you'll get about 35 hours of diving on medium brightness. You can also use the Saft lithium batteries. This is a non-rechargeable battery. You'll get about 90 to 100 hours on medium brightness, but they cost about $7. They're hard to find, so I wouldn't recommend them. I would use the cheaper, easy to find alkaline battery. Also, a variety of AA rechargeable batteries can be used. Another new feature is gauge mode. You switch to that in the same setting here, mode, and I'm going to switch to it. It's going to tell me that the Petrol is going to reset because it has to clear the decompression tissue status. The gauge mode doesn't know what gas you're breathing. You can't track tissue loadings of inert gases. So it resets. I get this notice, decompression tissues are not tracked, and continue. A few things you might notice: the depth is shown in a larger font. Time will show in a large font here. It will show in minutes and seconds in gauge mode. You got max and average depth. Average depth is resettable during a dive. Right now it's showing from the last dive, but during a dive there'll be the live values. Also water temperature, time of day, and there is a stopwatch. So 2 button presses gets me to start stopwatch, and then I confirm. Now I have my stopwatch running. I can stop it the same way. Displays in red when stopped. Underwater you're not going to get the turn off, so it's just going to be 2 button presses to start and stop. And I can also reset the stopwatch. I'm going to switch back now to a full decompression computer, and it's going to give me the same warning, that it's got to reset the decompression tissue status. The other time you would see a reset of the decompression tissue status is if you had left the battery out for a long time. The Petrol has a supercapacitor that retains the decompression tissue status and the clock for about 15 minutes during a battery change. So you can change the battery as long as you do it quickly, fairly quickly, 15 minutes, and not lose your surface interval and all your tissue loading. I'm going to switch back to closed circuit mode, and that is a brief summary of the Petrol Technical Dive Computer.